Hello book lovers, and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. Today I am going to be doing my September TBR using my TBR game. Alright guys, if you've been here for a while, then you know that we are starting this game over again, and that I recently made a new video going through the rules for this game, so I will go ahead and link that up above if you want to go ahead and check that out. A couple of things before we get started. Since I am starting my game over again, I am not going to start this round off with a punishment or with a reward prompt. We're just starting from square one, which is good because I did not finish my TBR that I created last time, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Hopefully we have better luck this month. I will say I am in a little bit of a reading slump, so hopefully I get some books that kick me out of that. But also last time I mentioned that I would be doing a book giveaway to kind of celebrate. All right, I think I shifted my camera a little bit because it was kind of like but as I was saying last time, I did mention that we would do a giveaway kind of to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of my TBR game, which would have happened back in August. And also because I stated in my original rules video that I would do a giveaway every time I completed the game. And since I just scratched the board, I figured it was a little unfair for me not to do a giveaway. So this is my first time doing a giveaway, so fingers crossed that it works okay. I've gone ahead and linked a Google form down below that asks you a few questions. It asks you for your name. You don't have to give your real name. If you want to say that you're Andrew Minyard, if you want to say that you're Achilles, Bob the freaking Builder, I don't care, you know, just put whatever you're comfortable with, but I would appreciate it if you linked your wish list. I said it could either be Amazon or bookshop.org, so a wish list from either of those two places, and then also to either put your Instagram handle or your email address so that I can contact you if you are in fact the winner. I am planning on doing the drawing about halfway through the month when I'm doing my mid-month wrap up, so that'll happen around the 16th or 17th of this month, so you have until then to fill out the form and apply to be the winner, and I will go ahead and send you a book for $20 or less on one of those platforms. All right, other than that, I'm not taking part in any readathons this month, so we will just be playing my game, which is based off of Mensch Agadish Nicht, which is pretty much Parcheesi, and I will just be doing the 5 usual roles that I do. All right, then without further ado, let's go ahead and go to Natalie by the game board and see what we get for roll number 1. All right, guys, welcome to the brand new board. Obviously the same board, but everybody is home. Since we are starting over, I have put all of the prompts back. Usually what happens is once I use a prompt, I take it out. That way we're not getting too many repeats, unless of course it's a diversity prompt like POC author, queer rep, mental health rep, disability rep, things like those. I always put them back into the pile, but we are starting completely over, so we have a lot of prompts. Very excited to see what we get. Let's go ahead and get into roll number 1. And we're starting with a contemporary. Whee! And the dice is running away. 1. A contemporary that is a YA or a middle grade. All right, guys, so we are starting off with a contemporary that needs to be a middle grade or a YA novel. I don't own any of those, at least none that I have not read yet. I've kind of moved away from them, so I don't purchase them as much. So I have decided to select an audio book for this, and the audio book I decided to select is This Is Kind of an Epic Love Story by Kaysen Callender. This is an author I have read from a couple times. I've read Felix Ever After and in fact Own It and really enjoyed it. I also read King and the Dragonflies earlier this year, and it actually ended up being my first 5-star of the year. So I'm excited to check out some more work by this author. This is a YA story about a boy who doesn't really believe in love. He's seen a lot of relationships fall apart, seen a lot of heartbreak, including when his father passed away, leaving his mother obviously very devastated. However, his best friend is set on proving him wrong, and life gets very easy for her when his ex-best friend comes back to town, and the two of them start experiencing some sparks, I guess you could say. I really enjoyed the author's writing and how hard-hitting his stories have been in the past, so I have relatively high expectations from this book, despite it being one of his lesser talked about stories. All right, and we are on to roll number 2 out of 5. A romance. A 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's easy. Owned TBR. So this is just a book that I physically have on my shelves. All right, and roll number 2 was a romance that needed to be on my owned TBR, and this made me very happy that I decided to purchase these books physically, because I do believe they are all available on KU, but I don't get KU that often, and I was like, I'm not waiting until I decide to get KU to read these. I'm purchasing them. I own them, and that is the books of the Monstrous series by Lindley Main, specifically Eden, which is the second book in this series. So this is a series that follows people in a post-apocalyptic world. About 20 years ago, some sort of rip in the atmosphere in the universe caused a bunch of monsters to be able to go into the human world, and the humans' response was to try to destroy them, and in turn the humans kind of destroyed their own planet, and now live in very isolated cities, or in raider camps, or in military bases. And this series is following, I believe, the 7 different monsters that take part in something called The Hunt, which is an event that ends with a lot of people dying, and these are monsters that get their own romance in each book. The first book is called Soul Eater, and I ended up giving that 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. We do meet Eden in that first book. He kind of comes across our characters and spends some time with them, and just the snippets I got from him, I can tell he's just a really great guy. He's a great friend. He's someone who really cares about those around him. So I'm just really excited to get a look at his romance. I don't know who he falls in love with. Let's see. Yeah. So it looks like we're following another soldier. This one's been in the military for 12 years. In the first book, the love interest is also a soldier, but he was new and had only been in the military for 1 year. So in this case, we are definitely following someone a bit more battle-worn, someone who's probably done some things he's not very proud of. So that'll be interesting to see how he gets along with Eden's more perky, optimistic, fun-loving personality. But yeah, no, I had a great time with the first one and very excited to get into book 2. All right, and we are on to roll number 3 out of 5. Another romance. A 3. So just a reminder, now I can only take someone out if it is a 5 or a 6. So I have to move this person. 1, 2, 3. Scroll on Goodreads. So that's actually kind of good considering I do still have this prompt for my Aurelium courses that I need to complete. So I can double up on that. All right, so role number 3 was another romance, but this one I need to find by scrolling through Goodreads. So let's take a look at what I found. All right, so we are here at Goodreads, and I've already done the scrolling and selected the book that I'm gonna try and read, but then I realized that I never clicked record on my phone, so you didn't see any of that. So we're just gonna do it again. I'm gonna scroll through all these relatively quickly because I've already seen them and decided that I either don't know what the book is or am not interested, and we're just gonna it took a while, so we're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling some more until we get to Red, White, and Royal Blue. I read this book years ago. As you can see, I rated it 5 stars, which is weird because whenever I think back of it, I always think like, oh, I think that was like maybe like a 3.5 star read. And then I looked at my rating and I was like, what am I misremembering here? So I am really interested in rereading the book. I'm going to see if I can get the audiobook. I am a little worried that it might have a long hold due to the fact that it's probably had like a resurgence in popularity due to the movie. But fingers crossed that not a lot of people at my library are interested in it. All right, so as you see, I kind of decided on Red, White, and Royal Blue. I went on to Libby and they said it'll be about 11 weeks, which makes me not super optimistic that I'm going to get to it this month. So I decided to just be on the safe side and find another book that I could use. I did put myself on hold for that so that I can go ahead and reread it because I am interested in doing that, but I'm not going to put it on my TBR because I'm kind of feel like I would be setting myself up for failure by doing that. So I ended up scrolling some more and you don't see it, so just trust me, please. But I came across, first it was Divine Rivals, I believe is the book that a lot of people have been talking about, kind of historical fantasy romance situation. But I want to read that book physically and not via audiobook. And I don't own that book and I don't feel like purchasing it right now or getting it from the library. So I kept scrolling and then something wonderful happened. Bailey from Is Bailey Reading said that she was starting to read Loath to Love You, which is a collection of short stories by Ali Hazelwood. I have already read the first one, I think earlier this year. So I went ahead and put the second book, which is between these two little tabs, on my TBR, and that specifically is The Stuck With You. This is just about 2 people who are stuck on an elevator. I'm hoping they're not on the elevator for the 130 pages or whatever that this book is. But it says a civil engineer and her nemesis take their rivalry and love to the next level when they get stuck in a New York elevator. So it is a novella. I do believe that this month there is a very short round of Squash That series, which is hosted by Is Bailey Reading as well as Kayla from Kayla Ray Reads. So this may be a book that I save for that time since it's relatively short, and on one of the days that the readathon is being held, I have a wedding. So I'm already behind. And I'm already stressed. But yes, I'm excited to get to another Ali Hazelwood book. I didn't love the first novella, but I'm just not a big novella girly, so I don't hold it against the author or anything. It's me. I'm the problem. All right, and we are on to roll number 4 out of 5. Another, wow, okay. I think it was February, Valentine's or something. All right, 3, so we have to move this person again. 1, 2, 3. A hyped book. Okay, we can do that. All right, roll number 5 was another romance, and this one is a hyped book. I'm not too mad about these romances. Like I mentioned, I am in a bit of a reading slump, and a romance is definitely the kind of genre that can really get me out of that. So with this one, I feel like it's not like, you know, dragon wing, fourth wing, that's what it's called. Fourth wing. It's not like fourth winged hyped kind of situation, but if I'm being a little snooty about it, a lot of the hype books that you see nowadays are not queer. They're usually heterosexual couples, and I do really enjoy reading queer books, and the people I follow on Instagram feel the same. So I see a lot of queer books that are not as hyped as, say, like Fine Print or Twisted Love. Those were two books that I owned and were considering reading, but I decided to go with a hyped queer book, and also one that's not a start of a new series, because I really didn't want to start a new series this month. And I decided to go with Heaven Official Blessing Volume 3 by Mo Xiang Tong Sui. This is a series that a ton of people I follow have read, have loved. Lots of people talk about it. There's an anime, there's a live action, there's lots of fan art. It's just a well-loved series, and I really want to continue with this series before I start forgetting what was happening in the first and second book. In this series, we are following Shilan, and he ascended to heaven when he was 17 years old. He was a beloved prince of a prosperous nation, and so at the age of 17 he ascended. No one was surprised. They were like, obviously he's just such a great guy. But then something that happened that caused him to become like a god of misfortune, and now everyone hates him, and he was thrown from heaven. At the beginning of this series, we are watching as he ascends for the third time, but in this book we are finally going to see what happened to cause him to fall for the first time. This book does have a very slow burn romance between these two. In fact, I don't even think I really listed the first two books as romance, because kind of isn't. I'm hoping that we get to at least see how the two met for the first time in this book, and maybe get to see them come closer and closer together in this book. So excited to continue. These books have been kind of like 3.5 stars for me. They're a good time. They're not like a great time. Sometimes I feel the writing is a little bit chaotic, but they are still at the same time somewhat addictive. So very happy I got this on my list. All right, and on to the final roll, and maybe something other than romance this time. Number 5 out of 5. Woohoo! A historical book. And a number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A historical book with an animal on the cover. All right, and for our final roll, we got a genre other than romance. We got historical, and that was to have a which direction animal on the cover. And I was able to select a historical series continuation, which is always exciting, and that is The Women of Troy by Pat Barker. This is the second book to The Silence of the Girls, which I read at some point. I don't remember if it was this year or last year. No concept of time, but I really did enjoy the story. I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed the way she presented the story, and really loved her writing. So I'm really excited to continue with this series. I checked, and I don't think book 3 is due until August of next year, so it's about a year away, but we're gonna go ahead and read this anyway, since it's been a hot second since I read the first one. In this series, we are following Briaces. In the first book, we were kind of following the Battle of Troy from her point of view, and I don't know what we're doing in this book. I really don't. We are post-war, and it seems to still be focusing on the women of Troy, because obviously when a city is conquered, the women are conquered along with it. The series seems to be following the Iliad, which I believe goes beyond even the war. I have to admit, I've never read the Iliad. I only read the Odyssey, so I don't know too much, but I am excited to kind of see where the author takes it. I do like the feminist retelling of Greek mythology, just because the original retellings of it are not very nice to women at all. So yeah, I'm really excited to get to this. It's not too long or anything, so continuing a series and catching up on a series as well, so yay. All right, guys, so those are the 5 roles. I do have 3 other books that I need to or want to get to this month. First, I am taking part in a read-along for the Bone season by Samantha Shannon, and we will be reading the novella The Dawn Chorus in September. This is book 3.5. I do have some Aurelium prompts that I still need to complete. If you don't know anything about Aurelium, I will go ahead and direct you to Book Roast. She's the one that created this readathon, but there are certain prompts associated with this that I have just not completed, and one of them was to read a book with black on the cover. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this since this book is primarily black. I'm getting it from my library via Kindle, and this is a series that follows Paige Mahoney. She is a clairvoyant in a world where it is illegal to be clairvoyant. She is part of the Syndicate, which is an underground criminal organization made up of clairvoyants. At the beginning of the series, she ends up getting imprisoned, and the story kind of goes from there. I enjoyed the first book, not the second book. Third book was okay-ish. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I didn't enjoy the 0.5 novella, but like I said, I'm not a novella girly, so I have to admit my expectations for this are relatively low. Another prompt that I still need to fulfill is to read a book in a different location every time I pick it up. The book I'm planning on reading for that is Perfect World Volume 3. I'm hoping to continue making pretty steady progress through this book. I meant to put Volume 3 and 4 on hold for my library, and I thought it told me both were available, and when I showed up, only Volume 3 was there, so I don't know what that's about, but I will probably try to at least get also Volume 4, if not Volume 5, in this month. It usually only takes me like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to make my way through a manga. But this is a contemporary romance following a couple who knew each other in high school. She had a crush on him at the time, and they are reunited years later because their companies are working together, and she sees that he has suffered a spinal cord injury and is now wheelchair bound. And it just kind of follows their romance as they kind of overcome the obstacles that other people put and society puts in place of couples or people that suffer from severe disabilities. So far I've had a relatively good time with it. The first volume was okay, but the second volume definitely has me optimistic that the series is going to continue to improve. And the final book is for my reread goal. I had a goal to reread the Warrior series, all 6 books by Erin Hunt. I have read the first and second book. However, I never ended up reading book 3 in August as planned. So I definitely need to read at least 1 volume of it this month. At some point, I'm gonna have to get in 2 volumes, but we'll see how it goes. This is just a middle grade story that follows cats who live in clans within a forested area, and it just goes through the power dynamics and the fighting for territory and access to prey and whatnot. So I've been enjoying the series. It's a middle grade, but I think it's still relatively interesting and well plotted and well written. So I'm excited to get to it, and I'll probably use it as a bit of a brain break if I need it. Alright guys, so here are all the books that I am interested in getting to this month. I think we got some good variety in here despite pulling the same genre so many times, but I'm also optimistic that these will help me get out of my reading slump. But let me know down below what you are planning on reading in September, and of course do remember do remember to fill out the form for the giveaway. You have until the 16th or 17th to do that. As always, thank you so much for supporting my channel, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!